There we are. Hello, hello. I hope everyone is doing so well. If you are new here, I am Jacqueline Michelle. Welcome to the Interior Creature community. If you've been here for a while, it's so good to see you. I see we have some folks here and tuning in. This is my first time ever using StreamYard and going live anywhere. So if you want to leave a comment, if you have a question for me, pop it in the comments. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to see it or not here, but I will go onto YouTube. I will go onto Facebook and look at any comments that you leave. So I thought today was a perfect day to start talking with you live about the cosmic weather, about what's going on in the cosmos, considering today is a really astrologically intense day. So let's start with what everybody is talking about, the solar eclipse today. So I'm in Arizona. Arizona is currently on Pacific time. We are one of the very few states that does not do doesn't do daylight savings time. So right now I'm on Pacific time. So according to local time, the eclipse is going to start around 6:34 this evening. It's going to last until about 11:59 p.m. here. So you might see some places on Instagram, TikTok, etc., people talking about the eclipse starting on the 20th. It just depends on where you are in the world, like what date and time it is. Anyway, so we've got the solar eclipse tonight. It is a hybrid eclipse, which is really interesting because we also have a new moon in Aries right now. So a lot of really intense Aries energy. This solar eclipse is happening in gate 3. Gate 3 is one of those really interesting gates in human design / the gene keys in that it spans 2 different zodiac signs. So it's the last few degrees, like last little gasp of energy of Aries and the first little breath of energy of Taurus. So it's kind of like sitting on the fence between those 2 different signs. And gate 3 is so fascinating. Gate 3, the gate of ordering, is all about change. Like, how are we embracing change? How do we interact with change? Are we good at letting things kind of like evolve and maybe things fall away that are supposed to, or grow and build that are supposed to? Or do we kind of like cling on to things that maybe like aren't necessarily supposed to be there? I don't know. That's one of those things that this eclipse is kind of asking us to think about. So eclipses in general, they're doors, they're portals, they're things we kind of step through, and on the other side, it could be that beautiful energy of rebirth, regeneration. But basically, like between today and tomorrow, something that is meant to go is falling away, and something that is meant to we're meant to step into is literally building. We're building that momentum, and I always think it's so interesting. Aries definitely carries the energy of gate 3 the way we might think about it traditionally. Like Aries is fiery. Aries has this energy of like initiation and movement and passion and fire. And like a lot of times when we think about gate 3, it's like, let's embrace change. Let's just go for it. Let's just like run first, like head first into that energy. Taurus, though, which I love. So we're going to kind of, again, we're moving from the Aries aspect of this energy into the Taurus aspect of gate 3's energy. Taurus is a lot more anchored and grounded. And Taurus, I think, almost represents like when gate 3 combines with gate 60 to make that channel of mutation. That channel of mutation asks us to get a little bit more pragmatic, to think about like what can actually change, like what are the limitations and obstacles? Are there things we want to like push through, work through? Are there places where there actually is a legitimate obstacle we need to consider? Taurus's energy is just a little bit more anchored, grounded, balanced. It's a little bit more steady and steadfast. So I think it's really interesting that we're kind of moving from this like really intense mutative energy into a hang on there, like anchor yourself down, almost like I always think of those reporters during a hurricane where they're like holding onto a lamppost for dear life as the wind is like blowing around them. Like Taurus is like, you got this, just hold on tight. Like, let's let the storm blow over and then we're going to figure out what we're working with on the other side. So anyway, I think it's a really interesting auspicious time because it is hitting at the new moon. One question I received earlier today was like, is this a good time to manifest? I think it depends on what you're manifesting and how good you are at navigating change, how anchored, grounded, balanced you feel. One witchy thing I am doing today, and I want to kind of share with you, is I'm going to like actually clean my doors. So in a lot of, again, cultures that practice, magical teachings and workings, we think of doors as portals, like doors, mirrors, they're portals between here and the other side, but they're even like physical portals actually we utilize every day. So I have some moon water that I had out during, I think in the first full moon of 2023, I'd put this out to kind of like, soak up the moon's good energy. I have some Florida water that I keep here. I'm going to be combining the 2 together. I'm going to get into some like cleaning clothes after this and literally go through every single door in my home wipe the frame down, speak good intentions into it. I'm going to like hold on to this moon water first. And again, speak into it what I want to manifest, what I'm kind of calling in, what I want these portals, these doors in my home to represent. So that during this kind of eclipse, like maybe it's like the eclipse energy plus the energy I'm blessing my portals with, I want them kind of working together and closing a chapter, stepping into another one. It might seem scary because growth can be uncomfortable, but can also be like that catalyst you need to like get you to where you need to be going. So that's just something I've been thinking about a lot. So that's one thing that we're dealing with in this eclipse. So that's going on. And we have Mercury going retrograde in the next couple of days. So Mercury right now has been sitting in gate 2. It's been sitting in gate 2 next to Uranus. Uranus has been in gate 2 for ages. It'll be there until I believe the end of May. So we've got some time with, just kind of keep marinating in Uranus's gate 2 energy. Gate 2 is the gate of the direction of the self. And I always think of it as like the GPS and the sentience that puts the coordinates in the GPS. So think of gate 2 as like that part of our energy because it lives in the self center, so it's kind of guiding our identity, guiding our direction, where we're headed, how we're getting there. It guides both of those things. So it is that intelligence that decides like where is it that I want to go, and then how am I going to get there, and then along the path to getting there, inevitably because of the solar eclipse energy, but just life in general, things don't always go as planned. Like I always use the analogy of if you wanted to take like maybe the scenic route on your drive to like a family member's house, sometimes you're going to get on those twisty turny back roads and maybe there's a tree down, or maybe the weather is really gross and it's really slippery and there's leaves on the ground and you're like, I don't know if this is the safest way to go anymore. It might be really beautiful, but is it the safest way to get to my destination? Or is there a way that's actually more fitting, more aligned to where I need to go? Gate 2 is that gate that helps us figure out like, should I just call it quits and go home? Like maybe this isn't the destination I need to go to today anyway. Or B, do I just need to adjust the route I take to get there? And so I just think it's so interesting how again this change energy from the eclipse really coming on the heels of like, or not on the heels of like, it is opening the door, opening the portal, and then we're gonna step through. And then we've got this Mercury retrograde energy literally in the gate that's like, am I headed in the right direction? What's the path I need to take to get there? And Uranus has been sitting there for a while. Uranus is the planet of innovation, of disruption, of change. It's asking us to really think about like, if there's a destination I really want to go to, have I been brave enough in the route I'm taking to get there? Have I been okay with maybe stepping off the beaten path and taking a path less traveled, taking a path that's maybe not expected of me, maybe blazing a trail people haven't blazed before? Have I been comfortable enough, confident in myself enough to get there to do that? That's, I think, again, it's just another really interesting. That's why I think this eclipse is so powerful, because it's like really bringing a lot of catalytic change and forcing us to confront places where we've been stagnant, we've been stuck. Maybe we've been doing the expected thing. Maybe we've even kind of like taken a step back and said, well, I'm doing it the way that I'm supposed to, or the way other people have told me I'm supposed to. How is that actually aligning with me, my ethics, my morals, my values, and my sense of, again, where I want to head and how the road I want to take to get there? So getting us back in our integrity, really asking us to like listen to our intuition, drop into our bodies, check in with ourselves. Am I too much in my brain? Or am I in my body enough to really, again, follow those directions? So anyway, with Mercury sitting there, right now it's direct, but again, we're in that pre-retrograde shadow period. We might have started to kind of feel a little bit of tension around this issue. Mercury is going to go retrograde on the 21st. And retrogrades, I never think that they're scary, although we do have some tech issues along the way. I know the podcast has been a victim to that this week. It's hopefully coming out tomorrow if I can get the tech issues right. Last week, I couldn't do this live stream because of tech issues. So it's okay. Again, we're surrendering. We're just letting all in the perfect divine timing. I'm just letting things go and letting go, letting God, all that good stuff. But with Mercury sitting in gate 2, our intellect, our communication, the way that we process things. Like, have we been in our brains too much about our direction? Have we really been trusting our intuition? And retrogrades, again, are periods of reflection. There are periods of renewal. And so I almost think it's an invitation to like, the eclipse is bringing in this, like, we're off one path, we're on another. And this retrograde is giving us a period to really rest, renew, and get back in divine alignment with, again, where are we going? How are we getting there? it's just a really kind of beautiful period of time to do that inner work, to do that inner realignment before again we kind of step out on the other side. And we have another eclipse portal coming in May. So we'll talk about that in a future live. But again, I thought that was just really interesting energy. We've got the initial kind of, 21st to the 28th part of that retrograde, again, sitting right in gate 2. And then we're going to move into gate 24. And that brings kind of another intellectual component to this. And if the brain, working with your brain, the gates in the brain, the head and the mind center have been a challenge for you, I know that's something that people come to me all the time with. They're like, I'm really excited about this human design experiment. I feel like I'm trying to tap into my intuition, but the conditioning to get into my brain has been kind of maybe not prohibitive, but just like it's there, right? Like I analysis paralysis is a very real thing. So this weekend, I'm actually teaching a master class on Sunday about how to work with the energies of the head center and the mind center when they're open, when they're closed, how to work with the energies of the gates that are present there. We're going to do a little bit of deconditioning. So again, you're invited. Information on that is on my Instagram. It's on my website. I'll make sure I drop a link under this video on both YouTube and Facebook for that. So you're definitely invited to come and learn. And I created this amazing workbook for that as well. I'm so excited. I can't wait to show you. It's the book I've been working on. I decided to actually release it in chunks and not kind of wait till the entire thing is birthed. I'm birthing like little baby books, like at this, one at a time. So I'm excited. I'm going to debut the first part of that for folks who come to the workshop. You're going to get the first little part of the book. Anyway, last thing I wanted to share, because Saturn, I think, Saturn's transit through Pisces, we've been working with the first little part of this has been in gate 55. And gate 55 is almost like the last little piece of the puzzle here. 55 is the gate of spirit. It lives in the solar plexus. So far, the transits that we've been kind of talking to, gate 3 is in the sacral, gate 2 is sitting in the self center, gate 55 sits in the solar plexus. These are like major centers. Like, where am I going? How am I navigating change? What do I have the energy for? And gate 55 is literally like, what am I so emotionally invested in? What are those things that I just like, I give a fuck about? Like, I'm really emotionally invested. I want passion. I want fire. Like, what are those things? And like, do I have enough of them in my life? Am I being brave enough, trusting in myself enough to really give myself, emotional fulfillment? And Saturn being the planet of, constriction, limitation, it's all for our own good, though. Saturn, I always feel, kind of comes in and shows us where those things are absent. So right now, if you've got your natal Saturn in Pisces, or just for any of us in the collective, we're all feeling this as well. Saturn in Pisces is really asking us to think about, especially in gate 55, do I have those outlets in my life right now where I feel that a deep, deep emotional resonance? Do I have that person, that project, that hobby, that thing that sets my soul on fire? Am I giving it space? Am I giving it breath? Am I giving it time? How does that tie into the direction that I'm headed in, that retrograde we're going to have in gate 2? And through gate 3, like, what might need to change to invite more of that in? Am I really living that kind of, soul on fire life that I deserve and that you deserve? Or are we kind of trapped in, again, the shoulds, the, projections, the conditions, this is the way it's always been done. Expect a lot more of this energy because, again, Pluto just moved into Aquarius. It's going to be dipping in and out for the next few years. So like, as we're kind of sitting on the doorstep of Pisces or Pluto rather, sorry, in Aquarius, we're going to be having a lot of these disruptions to the way that we've been doing things before, systems, structures, wise, et cetera, expectations for what a life can look like, what a career can look like, what a relationship can look like. We're pushing those boundaries, pushing back against those systems and structures. And again, to kind of tie it all in a beautiful bow, gate 60, which is again where Pluto is sitting right now, is the programming partner of gate 3. They make that channel of mutation together. So that's why this eclipse again is so just like astrologically potent. I don't know about you. I felt like I've had like a pit in my stomach for the past few days. Like, I have a water fire dominant chart. I feel things like very deeply astrologically. And I've just like felt like something is coming. It's got that like precipice energy of like, like when the plane's about to take off, or you're on, I've heard, I don't do roller coasters, but I've heard like right before, as you're climbing up the top, right before you go over the dip, your stomach kind of like hops into your throat a little bit. There's that kind of feeling of like, we're right on the cusp, we're right on the edge. It literally is, I think, because of just the way the planets are all kind of sitting right now and hitting our chart. Gate 3, again, the gate of change. Gate 60 is how do we deal with obstacles, limitations? And Pluto sitting there is inviting us to rebirth, to reinvent, to think about, do we need to follow the systems as they've been kind of established over the past 400 years, or as we move into this new global cycle in 2027, as we're kind of birthing this age of Aquarius. Aquarius, remember, is more humanitarian, more community centered, more socially aware, just more like innovative, right? Because the modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. Like we can reinvent. And I think Pluto and Uranus are kind of loving sitting here together, because Pluto's like, well, let's start with what's true. And then it's like rebirth. And Uranus is like, well, let's think outside of the box. So it's kind of really cool energy, sitting here in this big portal that we're in right now. So I'm not sure if there are any comments being left. Again, this is my first time live streaming, so I will definitely check on YouTube and Facebook. But if you have any questions, if there's anything that you want me to talk about next week, I think I'm going to pop in once a week and just do these little cosmic forecasts for, what's going on in the cosmos. What do we have any big astrological events coming up? Yeah, I'll just kind of give you some live updates, walk you through how it's hitting the chart. But yeah, and if you haven't watched my video on gate transits yet and just like how to work with this energy, I'll also drop that in the comments below this video. I know these are live. I'm going to find a way to, I'm recording it, so I'm finding a way to make sure they get captured somewhere on Facebook and YouTube. My tech illiteracy is just like showing right now. But anyway, I will make sure that that works out. And yeah, I have a whole video on my YouTube channel about like how to work with the gate transits to like really maximize the way that you're doing your shadow work practice. You're thinking about your own energies, yeah, how to work with it, not against it. So yeah, it looks like any comments that are left are probably on those two platforms. I will go and check those. I'll make sure I respond to everyone. And yeah, if there's anything that you want me to talk about next week when we come back and do this again, definitely let me know. And I hope to see many of you this weekend on Sunday in the Brain Adversary to Ally Using Human Design, the masterclass that I'm teaching. So information on how to attend that is on my website and on my Instagram account. So have a beautiful, wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this amazing eclipse weather. Again, I don't think portals, eclipses, retrogrades, it's nothing to fear. It's all love. It's all for our highest good. We just need to kind of, again, like take a deep breath, surrender, be gentle with yourself today. After I clean my doors and do my little witchy practice, I'm going to like take a nap, take the dogs on a hike. So anyway, enjoy this beautiful day, and I will see you all soon.